back with some more news, and there is a lot to get into today. We've got growing concern that WWE could be heading in a very bad direction, new fallout from the TKO town hall, fresh questions about Triple H's power behind the scenes, AJ Lee speculation heating up again, Kairi Sane breaking her silence, a major Raw issue, and a whole lot more. So let's get straight into it. WWE may be about to get much worse. One of the biggest talking points in wrestling right now is the fear that WWE is getting way too comfortable with AI. The recent TKO town hall meeting has caused a lot of discussion, and according to reports, company officials openly talked about how AI is being explored across different parts of the business. At first, that sounded fairly harmless. Data analytics, helping with consumer trends, broadcast enhancements, the usual corporate language. Fine, whatever. That is the sort of stuff fans can live with, but then things took a turn. The real alarm bells started ringing when it was suggested that Nick Khan and Triple H are using AI in relation to storylines, creative direction, and what is resonating with the audience in different parts of the country. And that is where the worry comes in, because once fans hear that AI is being used to shape creative, it immediately raises the question everyone is asking, how far is this going to go? If this is just about using numbers to figure out who is hot in certain markets, that is one thing. But if WWE starts leaning too heavily on AI when it comes to actual storytelling, then the product could become even more lifeless than it already feels at times. And that is not a random fear either. Fans have already seen what happens when the company tries to cut corners with this sort of thing. Next up, fans already ripped one AI disaster. Just hours after those comments spread online, WWE aired NXT. And one of the video packages on the show immediately got called out for looking completely AI-generated. The package in question was for Zarya, and fans hated it. The reaction online was brutal. It looked cheap, weird, and completely soulless, and people instantly started flooding social media with AI slop jokes and memes. That is exactly the problem. WWE is a billion-dollar company. When fans tune in, they expect effort, they expect production to feel polished, not like somebody typed a few prompts into a generator and called it a day. A bad AI package is one thing, but if that sort of soulless presentation starts bleeding into feuds, promos, and actual booking decisions, then fans are right to be worried. Wrestling needs feeling. It needs instinct. It needs chaos, risk, emotion, personality. The second it starts feeling over-engineered by algorithms, the whole thing gets colder, and that is what makes this such a dangerous road. One or two experiments are one thing. But if WWE starts believing that AI can replace actual creative instincts, then the product is going to suffer badly. Next up, NXT just got a major reset. On the same NXT show, there were also several important debuts. Evil showed up and confronted NXT champion Tony D'Angelo, and based on how he was presented, WWE clearly wants him to feel like a major deal right away. There were also multiple fresh faces introduced, including Lizzie Rain, Will Cruz, Tristan Angels, Cam Hendricks, and Tate Wilder. This all feels like WWE realizing it had to move fast. NXT has lost a lot of names recently, and there has been real concern about the brand lacking depth near the top of the card. So instead of waiting around, they seem to be forcing a hard reset. The Evil debut was the biggest statement of the bunch, especially with reports claiming that he personally wanted to begin in NXT. Apparently, there is also speculation that his new WWE name could end up being something like Nox Ron, which, let's be honest, sounds like the kind of name fans are either going to laugh at or weirdly convince themselves to accept after 2 weeks. Still, the bigger point is obvious. WWE knows NXT needed new energy, and now we are seeing the company try to flood the brand with fresh names as quickly as possible. Next up, Triple H may not be as secure as people think. A lot of fans like to act as if Triple H has complete control of the product and answers to nobody, but the reality sounds much more complicated than that. New reports have once again made it clear that TKO has the power to step in whenever it wants, and while that apparently does not happen all the time, it absolutely can happen if the people above really want something pushed through. That alone is a big deal. But what makes it even more interesting is the idea that Triple H wants to be seen as indispensable. According to the reporting, one reason he is featured on television, as much as he is, may be because he wants to maintain the perception that the product runs through him. In other words, he is not just booking the shows, he is also protecting his own position, and honestly, that makes sense. If TKO keeps stepping in around the biggest events of the year, then of course Triple H is going to want to remind everybody that he is still the face of the creative side. The problem is that this only really works if the product stays strong. If the shows feel messy, overproduced, or directionless, then all the extra camera time in the world is not going to save that perception. Next up, did Triple H want out? This is where things get even more interesting. Triple H recently re-signed with WWE, which on the surface should suggest that he is happy in the role and fully committed for the next few years. But another report claimed there was real internal talk that 2026 might have ended up being his final year running creative if things had kept going the way they were. And that says a lot. The discussion was not reportedly coming from people who believed he was doing a terrible job. It was more about the feeling that if people above him kept interfering more and more, then eventually the whole situation could become unsustainable. The Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll stuff around WrestleMania 42 keeps getting brought up here for a reason. A lot of the frustration seems tied to that last-minute chaos and the belief that too many big decisions were being made from outside the wrestling side. So while Triple H is re-signed now, that does not erase the fact that there were apparently real doubts backstage not long ago about how long he would actually remain in charge. That should tell fans everything they need to know about how tense things may have become behind the curtain. Next up, is AJ Lee done with WWE again? There is now fresh speculation that AJ Lee's latest WWE run may already be over, or at the very least, heading into another break. A lot of this comes from how emotional and reflective she has been on social media since WrestleMania, including a post where she broke character and gave Becky Lynch a lot of praise, thanking her for keeping her safe and making her better. She also thanked several other WWE names, including Bayley and referee Jessica Carr, and that naturally got fans wondering if this was her quietly saying goodbye again. As of now, nothing official has been confirmed regarding her status, and there is not much clear information about her contract either. So for the moment, this feels less like proof of an exit and more like the setup for another hiatus. And honestly, that would make sense. AJ Lee returning at all was already a major story, so if she disappears for a while and comes back again closer to SummerSlam or another big event, WWE could easily turn that into another huge moment. But right now, fans are definitely reading between the lines. Next up, Kairi Sane just shut down the rumors. Kairi Sane has now broken her silence on her release. And in the process, she seems to have completely undercut the story that she wanted out of WWE and wanted to return to Japan. Earlier in the week, that rumor spread quickly and changed the tone of the conversation, because once fans started thinking the release may have been her choice, some of the outrage died down. But Kairi's own words told a very different story. She made it clear that she loves this work, her teammates, and the fans, and that she never walked away. That is a very pointed thing to say. It does not sound like someone who asked out. It sounds like someone who is letting people know that the decision was not hers. And if that is the case, then We Want Kairi movement has every reason to come back strong. Fans were already frustrated that she got cut in the middle of a story with Asuka and Io Sky. If it now looks like she did not even want to leave, then all of that backlash only gets louder. Right now, there are reportedly no plans to bring her back, but WW has been forced to reverse course before when fan reaction got loud enough. So this story is far from dead. Next up, WWE is already teasing a huge future WrestleMania. Nick Khan has also added some fuel to the long-term speculation by hyping up the location for WrestleMania 44. During the town hall, he reportedly told people to wait until they hear where the company is going for WrestleMania in 2028, and naturally that set off a whole wave of theories. Some fans are already convinced this means another international WrestleMania is on the table, with Wembley Stadium in the UK being the dream scenario people keep bringing up. Others think it may just be a brand new US location that WWE has not used for Mania before. Nashville keeps getting mentioned too, especially because it had previously been linked with WrestleMania 43 before those plans changed. At this stage, it is all speculation, but if Nick Khan is going out of his way to tease it publicly, then WWE clearly thinks whatever the plan is, it is big enough to get people talking years in advance. Next up, Raw had a huge malfunction. There was also a pretty bizarre issue during Raw this week, and fans noticed it right away. Both Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns looked like they were absolutely drowning in sweat despite barely doing anything physical in the ring. And the reason, apparently, was a failure in the building's air conditioning system. So yes, the arena was just ridiculously hot. That might sound small, but when it is affecting the performers and making the broadcast look strange, it becomes part of the conversation. There was even footage circulating online that made it very obvious how uncomfortable it was in there. So if you were watching and wondering why everyone looked like they had just wrestled a 40-minute war before the segment even got going, there is your answer. And finally, has WWE gone too far The final story here is one that leaves a very bad taste. Santos Escobar's release was already controversial because he is currently injured, but now it is being reported that WWE has also revoked permission for him to use the Performance Center to rehab that injury, and that is where this becomes a much uglier story. Apparently, the original expectation was that he would still be able to recover there during the 90-day period, but now that has reportedly changed, and if true, it comes across as a very cold way to handle somebody who got hurt while working under the WWE umbrella. Yes, the company may be looking at it purely from a business perspective, figuring that he should be healthy enough by the time the knee days are up anyway, but from a moral and human perspective, it is a terrible look. Fans are absolutely right to question whether WWE is crossing a line here, because one thing is releasing talent. That already sucks. But cutting injured talent and then refusing to support the rehab process on the way out is the kind of move that makes people wonder just how far this company is willing to go when it comes to protecting the bottom line. So when you put everything together, the picture is messy. WWE is experimenting with AI in ways that already have fans nervous. Triple H's position sounds more complicated than people thought, AJ Lee's future is uncertain, Kairi Sane has reignited the backlash around her release, and Santos Escobar's situation may be one of the worst looks of the entire week. That is all for now. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.